Hello and welcome to the show that punches you in the face with information, but in a good way. Today's episode we're going to be talking about why to supplement, because there are supplements like protein powders, pre-workouts, and then there are supplements like fish oil, magnesium, and things that are actually going to benefit your health. So the first thing I need to talk about when talking about supplements is the soil. Now, my good friend, you might be saying, what does soil have to do with my post-workout shake? Well, not so much with your post-workout shake, but with your general overall health plan, it has a lot to do with it. So let me show you on the board. You essentially have two farms, okay, Farm A and Farm B. And this farm is basically a westernized farm, a modern farm. This is a farm that essentially has had everything essentially destroyed on it. So to plant a monocrop. So I'm going to kind of get you caught up to speed on a couple of terms. What usually happens with a piece of farm is you have what's called polyparental culture, and that's poly meaning many, parental culture meaning many types of different, essentially the vegetation that is growing on the environment. So to plant a monocrop, and a monocrop, if I write this on the board, a monocrop is something like soy, it's something like corn, it's something like wheat, okay? We need to destroy the polyparental culture. So we eradicate and we wipe out everything that's on the soil. Now, to get this monocrop to grow, we use a fertilizer called NPK. Now, what's NPK? NPK is phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The three main minerals that essentially can fertilize soil to bring life to essentially crops. And NPK, it's not just for the monocrops. I mean, we also see, or I should say, it's not just for soy, corn, and wheat. NPK is widely used in all farming all over the world. It's the most widely used fertilizer. So essentially, we're putting three minerals back into the soil out of 57. Now that's quite interesting, because then we wonder, where's the magnesium? Where's the zinc? Why are people so deficient in magnesium today? I mean, it's quite evident that it does come back to the way we are growing our food, and essentially the way we're engineering our food today. Because I mean, if you're eating things out of a packet, often these foods are actually going to strip vital minerals and vitamins. Not adding back vitamins and minerals, but stripping out of your body as well. For example, something like sodium benzoate, horrible to have in your diet. So if you're eating low-fat products, not so good. But I digress and get back to the point of this presentation. And that is, you have this farm, you're putting in three minerals out of 57, and then people are wondering why they have a problem with magnesium. Well, it's because the minerals aren't in the soil. So you have a farm like this, which I'd call the organic farm, more of I suppose a holistic way of looking at it, where essentially the animal that is on the farm defecates. Now, you might be thinking, what has defecation got to do with anything? Well, that's quite rich in nitrogen. So essentially the animal's eating the land, defecates, that's very rich food. It's a nutrient to the land, gives life back to the land, and obviously we harvest the animal and eat the animal, and the cycle continues, okay? So it's more of a cyclic way of farming. If you want more information on this style of farming, I suggest you look up a fella by the name of Joe Salatin. He was also on Food Inc. He's a very smart and switched on, good looking man. I'd highly recommend his work, and he has written a number of books. One of them's Everything I Want to Do Is Illegal. Very good book, but I recommend for you guys to check that one out. But coming back to my point, why do you use supplements? Most of us living in the city, and obviously I live in the city, so we're not going to escape industrial farming. So when we buy, we can buy organic, but the reason why we buy organic is so we don't get the pesticides. The reason why we buy organic is not because they've necessarily they've farmed like this. They simply haven't used the pesticides. And this is where a lot of, I suppose, food lobbyists might come out and say organic food isn't more nutritious than non-organic food. Well, I don't care about necessarily the nutrition content. I mean, I do, but at the same time, the reason why you buy organic is obviously because you don't want the pesticides. And the pesticides are xenoestrogens, and they cause a lot of effects on the body, etc., etc. Essentially, the reason why you're buying organic is so you don't get the pesticides. It has nothing to do with the soil. Maybe sometimes it will. The soil will be better kept, but often that's unknown unless you are buying your food directly from a farmer and you know exactly their practices. Most of us probably won't escape the NPK trap of fertilizer. So this is where we look at supplements. And supplements, people will say, do I really have to use them? And I say to people all the time, you don't have to use anything that you're not comfortable with. Certainly a general supplement that I use almost every day of my life really is magnesium and a multivitamin product of some sort. So with that said, I mean, everything else really for me is kind of up for debate, except for really those two. It's very rare that you see someone with their magnesium is too high. I've never seen it personally. I don't know any of my friends or practitioners who've seen it either. So I hope that video helps and kind of breaks down. When I talk about supplements, again, I'm not talking about pre-workouts, stimulants, protein powders even. I'm really talking about it from a functional perspective of vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and even herbs. So I hope you found value from this video. Obviously, I'd love for you guys to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Keep watching and see you on the next video.